Another victory post game, and this time it's in the most important round of the playoffs. That's right, the Buffalo Bandits in the same exact position as they were just about a year ago. They take game one against the Colorado Mammoth. They win this game 13-12. This game probably took, I wasn't even watching it, I was listening to it on the radio. It probably took 12 years off my life. Tony, I don't know about you, but my God, like that game started off back and forth, but a 4-0 lead, which turned into an 8-7 deficit. We were down at halftime, which turned into a 13-12 win. It was back and forth the whole way. Referees trying to get their 2 cents in the whole time. It doesn't matter because the Bandits are leading in the series 1-0 against the Colorado Mammoth. How are we feeling today, Tony? I know you had a bottle of water and you couldn't really, you were screaming a lot last night. So we're gonna see how we can, the best we can get this podcast done.
Yeah, basically, I'm gonna have to keep it low key and low tone, so that's gonna be my only way to doing things. Because last night I was screaming like crazy, especially with how close the game was, and especially how the Bandits were playing. They come out firing 4 straight goals, and then all of a sudden it's just like they played laid back, and you can't give Colorado the inch that they need, especially how good that offense of theirs can just all of a sudden flip it around and be like, that's their lead. So again, they were going back to old school wise and trying to put the gas pedal down early and then get too tired. But I think, again, it still counted where it mostly had to be. And it was the first and third quarters where they opened it up and they scored when they needed to. They got into Ward's head quick, which was what we wanted to. And especially how scary it's just when the finals are here and the championship and you get the nerves kicking in. It's just, wow. I don't know what else to say. But again, they squeak by and hold on to win game one again. And I'm so glad that when I watched the interview afterwards with the three of Tahoka, John Tavares, and Dane Smith, they said they were not happy with the outcome, even though they still won by 1. But again, we have to take a deep breath, collect our thoughts again, and play as mentally prepared as they were in game 1.
And Tony, this is we had pretty much almost identical scores and almost an identical start to the final series. We win by 1 goal, but this time it's actually a little bit different because now they have to fly out to Denver probably today on the off day.
Or last night.
I don't even know what time. I think I saw on the Bandits Instagram story, I think they went to the cryotherapy thing today. So I think they're probably going to fly out later tonight on their off day. But it was different. Last year we had one Saturday, which was game 1. Then we had the next Saturday. We had 7 days to prepare for game 2.
Correct.
This game is so important. I said it on the preview because the Bandits, if they win this game, the Colorado Mammoth, they have to fly back to Denver down 1-0 in the series to prepare for an early game on Memorial Day. This is tough for them. This is different from what it was last year. I like the schedule right now. I love where we are, and we had to take that game 1 lead. And I think Steve Priolo said the same thing. He said, we're not happy winning only by 1 goal. I mean, the job's half done, as Kobe Bryant once said. Is the job done? No, it's not. It's not done. But the Bandits, you got to say great things about Dane Smith. He was, I think Chris Kuche was my main player to watch. And in my honest opinion, he was robbed out of the go-ahead, or not the go-ahead goal, the insurance goal to go up 14-11 late there in the game. Absolute horse crap officiating. It was horrible all night. The refu sucks came out a couple times, but Dane Smith ripping 2 in the first 2 minutes of the game, going up 2-0, 2 quickies from Dane Smith, and then scoring a hat trick in the first quarter. Going up, he scored the insurance goal to go up 4-0. Dane Smith has the difference between Dane Smith last year in the finals and this year in the finals is amazing. Last year, he was taking just kind of like I don't want to say lazy shots, but I think that's kind of what it was last year. He was taking lazy shots from just inside the restraining line, trying to bounce them in. If they didn't go in, oh well. This year, he's picking his corner, picking 5-hole, going top shelf. He's picking his shot, and he's he's been sniping goals. He's been acting as that sniper role, sort of looking like Josh Byrne out there a little bit. Even though we found out that he was put on the IR just before, was
Mm-hmm.
it 1 o'clock p.m. yesterday? He was placed on
Yeah.
the injury reserve. So we know that the Buffalo Bandits had big shoes to fill. And who picked up those pieces? Well, your Brad McCulley's picked up those pieces. He scored the tying goal to make it 7-7. Dane Smith scoring, Chase Frazier scoring a hat trick, and Tehoka Nanticoke, that 11th goal. I mean, putting the defender in the spin cycle, faking
Mm-hmm.
up top, spinning him around 360. He goes down, puts it right over Dylan Ward's shoulder. Tehoka is so underrated in this league. No one ever talks about him, and it's a crime because this guy is so good. But you had all these secondary scorers, Chase Frazier's, Dane Smith's, you had Brad McCulley's, Tehoka Nanticoke. You had all these guys filling in for Josh Byrne, and this is exactly what this team has been doing all season long because they've been injured all season long. They're just
Yes.
overcoming adversity again. This is not new to the Bandits. We know they can
Mm-hmm.
lose their number one, number two star on the team, and they'll be fine. This is what I meant by the Bandits should put the league on notice and show adversity. They should be scaring these teams in the future. Not everyone can say we lost our MVP and we're still winning games, especially on the grandest stage of them all in the NLL Finals.
Yep. And you got to also understand that a few things did change as well. I mean, look at Kyle Buchanan. All assists, he had 6. And the fact that why he had that is because here's a new thing that I saw from last year's finals to this year's finals for just the first game. More hustle. They are digging for the loose balls. They are getting to their opponents and keeping them inside their zone to get that 8-second shot clock or over and back violation or whatever it's called. That is going to be the little pieces of the game like that is going to help you win games. And that's what you got to look out for. Dane Smith hustled when he was still out there on the floor. He didn't even go right to the bench. He stayed with one of the guys in Colorado's defense and said, you better start guessing where you're going to throw this ball. And there was turnovers left and right. They were forcing them to turn it over back to the Bandits offense. And that is something that we have changed the game of what to expect for game 2 is that we're going to be ready to give them the exact pressure that they have been giving us the last so many years. And that is turning against them. Johnny Tavares saw this in film or whatever and said, we need to be as much as aggressive like they are as aggressive to us. And it's changed for the good. And that's what wins wins these games is the little battles for the loose balls, the turnovers, and getting the shots on net, especially against our opponents. But like you said, the secondary scoring has been huge. You got Brad McCulley, you got Chase Frazier, you also have Ian McKay, who's still got one too as well.
Of course.
And just with the little bit of everybody to step up, especially without Josh Byrne, and Dane had to have 5 himself. My friend Joe, whose son Jackson that we had on their show before, he predicted that Dane Smith was going to score 7 goals that game, and he had 5. That tells you something that this kid is going to know about the sport of lacrosse as he's growing, and he's starting to play lacrosse at his age right now. So that is a good teacher by Joe to teach his son about the keys and the factors of the game. And
hopefully future Bandit
said that.
Hopefully
yes, we'd love to see a future Bandit. I get a Jackson Shuby jersey in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, me too.
After saying that, getting back to what
in the first quarter, sorry to interrupt you, Tony, but in the first quarter, Dane Smith was on pace to score like 12 goals. I mean, he was insane in that first quarter. But go ahead, yeah.
No, you're right, bud. But basically, what did I say about our pregame? What was going to be the main key about who needs to turn it up?
Face off, get off. Yep.
Max Adler. And look what he did. He won more than 50% of his face-offs.
17 for 29 to be exact. Yeah, 17 of 29.
And he
Very
had
good.
3 shots on net, too. He was trying to contribute as well. He had that adrenaline rush, like, I could do this too, guys. I want to score just like Baptiste, or I can score like Thornbird, or I can score like Edwards, or I can score like with Nardella, and everybody that can score. He wanted that mentality to say, if everyone's contributing, I want to be a part of that too. So big kudos to you, Max, on not only winning faceoffs, but also giving your efforts for trying to score goals. That's awesome of you.
There were some great things. I mean, especially just look at the outcome. 13-12, Bandits beat the team that they never seem to beat. They seem to be our older
Mhm.
brother. We love to poke and make fun of the Rochester Nighthawks and the Toronto Rock all the
Yep.
time about being our younger brother. We love saying that. But we can also say, you know what, Colorado, you have owned us in the past, going all the way back to 2006. So whenever you get wins like this, it's very, very good. There are some things that the Bandits should work on, though, and I think that's staying out of the penalty box. Now, both
Mm.
teams, this also leads into a positive. Both teams were fantastic on the power play. Both teams went 4 for 5 on the power play. The Bandits, I mean, it seemed like not only was it on the power play, they scored a shorthanded goal to go up 10-8 from the goal
Mm-hmm.
from Chase Frazier, who had an absolutely great night. But the fact that this power play is clicking at the right time, and it seemed like the power play was clicking all season long, even with half of our starters out essentially. But
Right.
when it matters the most, this power play is working. But you got to make sure, and it's hard to get around these referees and get around these officials, but do your best to stay out of the penalty box. That Chase Frazier unsportsmanlike call was absolute shit. I mean, I don't even know. He gets the stick chopped out of his hands and he goes in and pushes him and
Mm-hmm.
he gets the unsportsmanlike. I mean, at least give the Colorado player a slash, and then if you're going to call unsportsmanlike, do coincidental penalties. But the referees
Sure.
were terrible all night, and the fact that what was it, 14 to make it 14-11, Chris Kluche, a Colorado player has his arms wrapped around his neck, right? Pulls him,
Mm-hmm.
almost pulls him down. He
Yeah.
still scores the goal, and they wave it off from a crease violation. They go right down the field and make it 13-12.
Correct.
So the refs, if you are going to officiate in the NLL Finals, you have to be on your game. Just like how the
Yep.
Bandits and the Mammoth have to be on their game because they want a shot at this chip too. I mean, the Mammoth want to go back to back. The Bandits want to win their
Mm-hmm.
first title in 15 years. So
Yeah.
it's up to the referees to, I mean, just stop sucking. This is how it's been all season long. The refs are so bad,
Yeah.
and you could hear it on the WGR broadcast. The ref you suck chants coming out. It was so loud at the KeyBank Center. But despite all that, this is what's scary. What should be scary to the Mammoth right now. They didn't have their all-time point leader in the playoffs this year playing in Josh Byrne.
Yep.
They had referees that I think they really weren't favoring the Mammoth, but they didn't give the Bandits all the calls that they should have gotten. And they called the Bandits for some soft stuff. We were facing the referees last night, and we were missing our number one star player as far as playoff points are concerned, and we still won the game. That should be scary to the Mammoth going into tomorrow's game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I even said to my friends that they were like, "Oh my God, we lost our top scorer. Is that going to be a difference?" No. You
Nope.
got to also understand the fact, guys. Listen, while Josh Byrne was on the injury bug list, especially like with Chris Cloutier and Chase and other players,
Brandon
like now with
Robinson.
Brandon
Yep.
Robinson, you got to understand what the mentality is that who's going to be the next guy up. It's it Tahoka? Is it Ian McKay? Is it Brad McCauley? Is it Dalton Silver?
Is it a
You know
mix
what,
of multiple guys?
guys? It's you got to have faith in your team if you're going to support your team. No matter who steps up, look what we did. We ended up going 14-4 in the regular season, and we haven't lost yet in the postseason. What does that tell you? Stop with thinking that Josh Byrne is going to be the answer or the fact that he's not on the roster because he's hurt. Oh, well, it happens. That's the lifestyle of being a sports athlete. If you get hurt, someone's going to step up. When you come back, it's a praise because it's like, thank you, God, we got somebody back who can also score at will. True, but you got to have faith in the guys that are on the roster for a reason. And that's what Johnny T has been telling us all this year. It doesn't matter who's on the roster, who is going to be the next man to step up and maintain their shoes. And everybody on that list this year has done their job. So we cannot be afraid to lose faith in the guys that we have. You got to think this way. We've went, like I said, 14 out of 18 wins.
And we're 4-0 in the playoffs.
And we're 4-0 in the playoffs. Yeah, last year was 4-0. 4-2 afterwards. But the fact is, you know what? Keep the faith. Watch what happens this next game. I promise you, this is our time. This is Bandits lacrosse time. This is the dynasty we've always been wanting for. You got to have faith. And believe me, folks, good things will come. when we're patient, and we have been patient long enough.
Yes.
So it is our time. This is our moment. So game 2 is going to be it. I promise you. Okay. It's our time to slap it back in their face like they slapped it back in our face in game 3 of last year.
Game 2 is going to be not just a battle, but a war. Absolutely. And I think, what did game 1 prove to you without our number 1 point getter in the playoffs this year?
Mm-hmm.
And with absolute, I don't even know, horse bleep officiating. That shows you that Dylan Ward is beatable. He's
beatable.
Human. And I think that should show you right there. If it didn't help you figure that out last year when you scored 15 on him, this time, we had Josh Byrne in game 1 last year. We had Chris Kluche scoring goals. We had Connor Fields last year. We had Kevin Brownell last year in the finals. You're missing 3 out of those 3 players like Brunell, Fields, Byrne. They're not even on the team anymore, and you still beat them 13-12. This should give you confidence going into game 2 on tomorrow afternoon that, hey, this team is absolutely beatable. We will take them down. Doesn't matter how pretty it is. Just get the job done because we don't want to go back. As much as we love Banditland, we don't want to see another game in Banditland this season. We want this thing to be done. We want to see it be done.
I agree.
And I want you guys, the Bandits, to celebrate on their floor just like they did to you last year. Celebrate in their house and get some of that sweet revenge that we've been talking about. But that win yesterday proves to you that this defense is beatable. This offense is beatable. And what did I say on the preview yesterday? If you hold Zed Williams to 2 goals or less, they're not winning that game. He scored 2 goals. And that was it. They lost.
And they lost.
That was incredible. You can handle them. You can handle them. You had some of your sneaky guys like Chris Wardle in front of the net who's, it's hard to stop that guy too. And Robinson really got burned, but I've been saying that about this Colorado offense. They will somehow just find random spots, pop up out of nowhere at the top of the crease and score goals. They have a very, very talented offense despite being 9-9 on the season and 4th seed out west. They still find ways to win games and make a push for the finals, make a push for the championship. They still have a title to defend, so they're not just going to roll over in game 2. I guarantee you that. And it's going to be very, very close the whole way. But I want you guys to take this game and just relive that feeling after you beat them because you know that you can. And I don't even know. I saw it on Twitter. I think it's an NLL reporter, I'm pretty sure. But he said that Josh Byrne was placed on the injury reserve before yesterday, like in the middle of the week. So is there a chance that he could play on Monday? That's still up in the air. We really don't know. We don't have 24/7 access to the injury report. But in my honest opinion, who cares? What does it matter if Josh Byrne doesn't play? You proved you can beat him in game 1. Let's go to the Loud House and beat them in game 2.
That's right. Guys, just keep your heads up, play together as one, and just stay the course because you guys have the right mentality, you have the right game plan. And the other thing that you also have is us. We are there to back you up 100% of the way, especially how loud it was last night at the KeyBank Center. I could not believe how a full set of crowd just, and that's a third of the Bills Mafia in a way, is that we are that loud with just, 19K?
In a confined building. Bills Mafia
is just sick.
Bills Mafia is loud outside, but when you slap a roof on there and you form into a more confined indoor building, it gets loud.
Yes, it does. It is brutal, but it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling knowing that they are comfortable, that we are supporting them and cheering for them and just wanting to see them win. That's all we want to do is win. That's basically how their mentality is. And I'm glad that they were honest on their post-game reports too with the reporters. They said, we were not satisfied. We are not done. The job's not over. I love it. I love that mentality. That's the kind of type of attitude. That's the kind of type of attitude you got to have as a player and as a coach to go in and say, no, the job was not over. It's still not over. We've still got one more to get. That's it.
And last year,
once it is, then we can say
the mentality in the post game was pop the champagne bottles already. We got this thing. This thing's already locked up. This thing's over, when it really wasn't at all. The job was halfway done, and you're over there. Yeah. And I would be fired up too. I was, because I was at game 1 last year when they won that first game, and it was like that atmosphere walking out of the building, like, oh yeah, the Bandits got this in the bag, and then What do you know? They go in the fourth quarter in Denver, they blow it, and you're like, oh crap! Like this series is tied now, and then they blow a 4-1 lead in Game 3, and it's like, what was all that celebration? What was that celebrating for? Um,
Right.
but I mean, now it's like, who cares? You know what? We won a game. Awesome. We won 17 other games this year. That's cool. All
Mhm.
we have to do is win another one, and when we do win that other one, that's when we can celebrate. The season's over.
That's right.
We're raising the trophy, and then we have nothing else to worry about until next season. So the job is
That's
half
correct.
done. I like now. This is very, very interesting to me too. You look at last night's game. You see no Josh Byrne, and also on the score sheet, no Chris Kluche, no Kyle
No,
Buchanan.
he did score.
Oh yeah, he did score. He scored
He
one.
did score.
So no Buchanan, no Josh Byrne
Nope.
on the score sheet.
Hmm.
You know, some of your other starters weren't scoring either, and we still scored 13 goals.
Yep. That's something you got to understand is that other players are starting to pick it up. And that's what we love about this team. It's an all around team. It's not just based on three superstars. It's an all around team. And that's what's so good about having that weight kind of lifted off your shoulders too, with like you said, Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, and possibly Chris Kluche, even though he did score a goal and Dane had 5. But
Yeah,
again,
Dane was overdue for sure.
because he didn't score. Did he not score against Toronto that very last
At
game, or
least
did he?
game one,
Did he
he
get
got
2 or
8
3?
assists. He may have scored 1 or 2 in game 2. I really can't
Okay.
remember off the top of my head, but that first game he didn't score anything and got
No,
8 assists.
correct. And that's something that now that he knows that he has to light up the lamp a little bit. But again, it's an all around team. And this team has been the right pieces of the puzzle that we have kind of like said, okay, are we almost complete? We only have one more piece left, and that's that final piece to complete our mission and to complete our journey. So, guys, job's not done unless you put that last one together.
Not done at all. And I can't even tell you a player of the game. I mean, Dane Smith
There
scoring
isn't any.
5 is insane, but Tehoka Nanakok, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Ian McKay, 1 goal, 6 assists for 7 points. Chris
Yep.
Kluche, 4 assists. And Brad McCulley, 1 goal. Nick Weiss, no goals, but a couple assists. Kyle
Mm-hmm.
Buchanan, no goals, 6 assists. Dane Smith,
Yep.
5 goals, 1 assist. Chase Frazier, 3 goals, 0 assists. Dane Smith also had 17 shots on goal. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
dude was absolutely on a mission. This dude was a weapon out there. Um, and you also got to give some credit to Colorado too, because they were staying in the whole time. I mean, Ryan Lee getting 6 points, leading them for the team, also in 4 assists. Eli McLaughlin. I mean, that was your player to watch. My player to watch
Mm-hmm.
was Zed Williams. He led their
Correct.
team in goals with 3. And I mean, you look at loose balls. I mean, it's going to be either the captain or number 4 each time. This time it was Steve Priola with 10 loose balls picked up. That's 10 extra possessions that the Bandits got out of
Yep.
18 loose balls available. He picked up 10, and Dane Smith was 17 shots on goal. That's absolutely insane.
Yep.
And then Zed Williams leading them with 10 shots on goal. But that fourth quarter was really when the heart rate started to go. Because I mean, you
Sure.
look at the first quarter. Score after 1 was 5-4 Buffalo. Then
Yep.
Colorado scored 4 in the second, while Buffalo only scored 2.
Mm-hmm.
Bandits held Colorado to 1 goal in the third, which was absolutely huge. I think that third quarter is what won them the game. If they scored, if they just got a couple more opportunities, they could have won this game. But the Bandits putting up a 5 spot and holding them to 1 in the third quarter, jumping
Big.
out to a
Big
4-0
time.
run, jumping out to a 4-0 run after halftime was something
Mm-hmm.
that the Bandits absolutely needed, just like what they did in the first half. But you know, a mix of the officiating and the chances that Colorado had in that fourth quarter. Them
Mm-hmm.
scoring that goal to go 13-12 with 5:10 to go in the fourth quarter, I'm like, there is an eternity of time left on this clock. I'm not liking this right now, but Matt Vince, I give you so much credit. With 36.3 seconds to go, Colorado calls a timeout, and he
Mm-hmm.
makes a big save. They went low. They tried to go low. They didn't. He was having trouble with the over the shoulder goals a little bit, because every
A little
shot that
bit.
Colorado takes is either that underhand finesse shot or the sidearm. You never really see them take the overhand shot. This time, with in crunch time, they decide to take a low shot, and that was a mistake made by the Mammoth, because Matt Vince, I think he's a pro at the low shot. Sure, he'll let in a 5-hole goal in here and there, but what goalie doesn't? He makes a
True.
pad save, a routine pad save. He jumps on it. they tried to get something going with like less than a second left to go. One of the players thought it was in. I'm like, no, it's not. The green light was on before the guy even shot the ball. It was close the whole way through, but the Bandits held on. It's up to us, up to the Bandits in game 2. All right, stick with what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're probably gonna be circling Dane Smith on the roster sheet. They're probably gonna be looking at him. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I I can say, man, like Dane Smith can go off again. Like for sure. We know that he's an all pro, and I think he was robbed out of an MVP for sure. But like Christian Del Bianco, great goalie, but I mean Dane Smith is just a different breed, man. He's a different human out there. And I think, you know what, we don't need that MVP because I think he's gonna honestly go out there and win the title. Cool. Christian Del Bianco, you win your participation trophy while Dane Smith wins the title. I'm okay with that.
That would be great.
But
That would be great.
stick with what works going into game 2. That's all I got to say. Stick with what works.
Yep. Guys, you guys know the mentality. You guys already have the right mindset. Just follow through on it. That's all you guys can do. Finish the job. You're already halfway there. Got one more game left to go. And on top of that, here's another thing that I forgot to mention, especially with how the goaltenders are always saying, well, the ball was under me or the ball is on my stick or the ball. No, listen, when Chase scored that goal, and this is a lot of people are like, well, why wasn't it called dead when the goalie had it? No, he didn't. The ball is open and loose, and that's a free game to go and dig after it. He did. He picked it up and he swooped it in like a shovel and he scored the goal. That, guys, listen, for goaltending 101, if you're making a save, make sure it's covered or make sure you have no visibility.
Have your stick on it.
That's it. He did, but the thing is, it popped loose by his leg.
Yep.
And by the leg, it's like, oh, I got it pinched down. Doesn't matter. The ball's visible. I'm going to go for it.
Frazier didn't step in the crease.
No, he did not.
And there is a rule,
scored.
actually. The reason why they were looking at that wasn't because of a crease violation. You can't bat the ball. You can't swat the ball in the net. You have to scoop it up and get possession.
He did.
Which he did. He scooped it up, cradled it once, put it in. Boom, goal. I mean, and then the fact that they waved it off originally, Chase Frazier's like, what the hell? Like, what? Why would you wave that? I didn't step in the crease.
Right. No,
Johnny T with the great challenge.
Yep.
Scored the goal to go up 3-0.
Because a lot of people are asking me, like, Tony, what isn't that if the goalie had the possession? I'm like, no, that's loose. That's a great call. I'm glad that Johnny threw the flag and said, guys, we were challenging that. That's clearly loose. That's a free shot at going after it and getting it, scoop it up and put it into the net. Done deal.
Frazier, an experienced veteran, he knows that rule. He knows that rule. I mean, he's not going to swat at the ball in the finals. Like, he knows you got to scoop it, you got to put it in the net, and that's exactly what he did. And the amount of goals that could have been scored by the Bandits that were waved off. I mean, I've been looking at the replay of that, what should have been 14th Bandit goal. Chris Kluche, I mean, his hand was down, but you have to look at the reason his knee was down. You have to look at the reason why it was down, though. The dude's going down. I mean, some players got his freaking arms around his neck. That should have been a penalty shot. He's on a breakaway. He's got his
or a free penalty.
I'll take a 2-minute penalty up by 2 goals instead of a penalty shot all day. But point is, that would have been the go-ahead. That would have been the exclamation
nail in the
point
coffin for that game.
Yep, that would have been the exclamation point on game 1. And I mean, 3 goals compared to a 1-goal game. I think that is I think that's a bigger punch in the mouth. But you got to think about it this way. Was it pretty? No, it was back and forth. It didn't have to be pretty in the finals, though. All you have to do was win it. So going into this game 2, let me see. I'm trying to think of a player to watch for game 2 because, I mean, so many players shined for game 1. Some of the players you might not have expected. But I'm going to say my player to watch, since I'm going to go into this game thinking that they're going to be prepping for Dane Smith. My player to watch is going to be Tehoka Nanakok. That guy is on an absolute tear. It's going to be hard to put him out. The dude's red hot. He's making defensemen look silly and stupid out there. So if he can continue to do that, this championship is ours. Tehoka Nanakok starts with you, bud.
Yeah, Tehoka is definitely the right choice, especially how good his hand-eye coordination is, and to confuse the goaltending, especially to confuse Ward. He was guessing all night against him. Like that's the kind of mentality we got to like get under Ward's skin and make sure that, hey, you're gonna have to pick a shot and pick a spot. That's all you can do is to make sure and say, hey, I'm going to make the save. But if it doesn't and they score, you made the wrong choice.
And it wasn't one
Exactly.
spot. I mean, Dylan Ward was giving up goals short side, over the shoulder, 5-hole. He just did not have an answer. Like Matt Vince was
Mm-mm.
giving up a lot of top shelf goals, which is normal. That's what we usually see.
Yeah.
But Dylan Ward was exposed everywhere, which is scary
Yeah.
for the Mammoth for sure.
That's what you got to do. You got to confuse them. You got to make them keep guessing, because that's the only way you're going to score past Ward. If it's just a straight on shot, most goaltenders will make that save. But if you're in close and you have numerous spots to take a chance at, and you confuse them to make a move, and you got that opening, take that opening,
Yep,
because that's the only way you're going to score.
that's what you gotta do.
And that's what Tohoka's been doing all game. And I'm so glad he found the right rhythm right now. And that's a good choice to pick with Tohoka. But saying that, if there is no Josh Byrne for game 2, my go-to guy is going to be Ian McKay, is because of the fact that he plays all around defense, transition, and offense when he needs to. But when he's hot, he's hot. That stud knows what he's doing. And when he gets that timing and the shooting going, and this is why when he's on offense, he can produce points. That's huge for what you need him to do. Maybe next year we may see Ian McKay more on the offensive side. You never know. But that's depending on what Johnny T wants to do. But
It
my
flip
go-to guy,
flops, man. Like game to game. Like he's
yeah,
either
but
playing a strong defensive game or he's scoring 5 goals. Like that's the great
right.
thing about Ian McKay.
Yeah, but that would be my go-to guy, is Ian McKay for sure.
All right, man. And then honorable mention: Dane Smith, Matt Vince.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris Kluche for sure. He was robbed out of a late goal, so hopefully he goes into this game on Monday pissed off and rips 5 or 6 goals. That'd be
Keep
absolutely
playing
amazing.
pissed off. That's what
Yep.
you got to do. Keep playing pissed
angry.
off.
Keep playing angry. Don't feel sorry for these guys. Don't let
No,
them back in the
no.
game. If you're up 4-0, make it 5-0, make it 6-0, make it 7-0. Embarrass the piss out of the Colorado Mammoth. Make them feel bad about what they did to you last year.
Exactly.
There is no feeling bad for any other team in this league. Run up the score, pile it on, make them wish there was a mercy rule.
Oh, that would be great if there was.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That would be great if there was. Just go out there and just put the pedal to the metal. Once you guys know you found you figured it out. It's kind of like how they did it before in the first half and second half in a way, kind of, but the first and third quarters, whereas you're put the gas down, let's see what we can do. And then the second and fourth quarter was like ease up, but you can't really ease up.
Yeah, you can't coast to the finish line.
Right. So first half, stay toe to toe. Second half, lay it on the line. Just go nuts. Just go nuts. Just go nuts like you've been doing all season long. Your scoring has been from third quarter on with how good you guys have been playing. But again, guys, it's your destiny awaits.
That's it. That's it. You guys know what to do for game 2. We don't need to say it. But I'm trying not to get too excited on the show because, it's not done. I mean,
it's not.
That's another win. Cool. We've been winning 18 games since the beginning of the year. We've won 18 of these. It's nothing new. We know what winning is like. All you have to do is go 500 the rest of the way. But I want this thing done tomorrow. I want this thing done. Shipped out, sent, delivered, done.
Yep. And then we'll party when you get back.
Yep, because, it's been a while. It's been 15 years since we've had some sort of a parade or celebration outside of the KeyBank Center.
Absolutely.
Party in the plaza apparently was not a jinx yesterday. But I'll be there tomorrow at 4:30 because I work until 4:30. So actually, no, I'll probably be there around 4:45 at Southern Tier Brewery to watch the game 2 of the Bandits. Hopefully, taking home a big W. But Tony, why don't you hit us with the sponsor?
Yep, guys, we'd like to thank Mitchell's Tavern at 734 Tonawanda, Sheridan Drive in Tonawanda. Best place to go for beef on wick, and also have great food and amazing service, guys. We would like to thank you for having us on board. And guys, don't forget to mention Banditland Boulevard. Your boys, Trevor Howard and myself, Tony LaMonica, a.k.a. Boxhead 98TL, says these are the guys that sent us here and told us that you guys have the best food around in Tonawanda, so we want to see it for ourselves. Also, we'd like to thank YouTube, and for those who like and subscribe and follow us on there, you got to see our faces now. Now you know exactly who we are. So, guys, this is who we are. So we want to give you the best of the Bandits lacrosse as much as possible. And also, we'd like to thank those who listen in on any device on Spotify.fm and Anchor. Give us that 5-star rating that we've been wanting to hear all year, and keep on following us. And we can't wait to see your input on things about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse.
That's right. 13-12 final score from the KeyBank Center in favor of the Buffalo Bandits from last night. They're at it tomorrow early start, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, 2 o'clock Mountain time for those over there in Denver, Colorado that are making the trip. Huge game tomorrow, but just keep on keeping on. I have confidence in this team. What you showed me last night is enough to get me to believe. Get on that hype train. We'll be Booker T from WWE, right? Five-time champs.
That's it. That's all we can do, and hope and pray and keep the faith, guys, because this is going to be, like I said, it's our time.
It's our time. I mean, just quote Herb Brooks. This is our time. Go out there and take it. This is what you got to do. If we play them 10 times, they might win 9. They might win 9, but this is our time.
But not this game.
Not this game. Not tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night.
It's our time, boys.
We just got to send them off with 3 solid words going into game 2. Hopefully, we're gonna be recapping a very special championship episode, but we got 3 words.
We got to get there first.
Got to get there first too. I got confidence.
Job's not over.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So let's hit them up with the 3. Ready?
Yep.
Let's
go Bandits.
Bandits.
Let's go.
Let's go.